Welcome back to another video. My name is Stephen Foster, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the camera settings on the iPhone 14 Pro Max also included. This will work actually for any iPhone, but specifically on the iPhone 14 Pros, if you want to get the most out of a camera on your iPhone, you should change some settings. The stock default settings, as I talked about in my most previous video, my first impressions of the iPhone 14 Pro, some things need to be changed. Some things need to be adjusted if you want to get the most out of this Pro camera. And I'll be talking a little bit at the end of this video about some of the things that I wish we would see here, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. Popping open your settings app, you want to scroll down over to the camera. It's in this like pod with TV and photos. Tap camera, and you should see a couple pods here with some sliders and some information. We're gonna go through it all. Tap formats in the top and you'll see there's a few different things to choose from. High efficiency or most compatible. You're gonna wanna check most compatible if you have something like a Windows computer or something that doesn't process these HEIF images. This won't matter too much as long as you turn on the Pro RAW capture down at the bottom as well. This will ensure that you're shooting RAW images, at least on your standard sensor. Again, this won't apply to the wide sensor or the telephoto sensor, but this will ensure that you're taking those 48 megapixel shots on this phone. Get the most information possible. Finally, at the bottom, you have video capture. You can turn on Apple ProRes, and what that will allow you to do is to grade that image and have a lot more information to work with as well. Show you guys my settings at the top. I just record video at 4K 30 FPS. That's how I record videos here on this channel. Slow-mo 240 at 1080, that's fine. I don't shoot any slow-mo here, or cinematic 1080 30 frames per second. You can tap into those and change them stylistically how you want. I personally just like to record video, straight video out of the iPhone, apply my own production to it in post-production. Record stereo sounds kind of a new thing. I haven't played with this enough yet, but I am gonna try it and I'll let you guys know what I think. Preserve settings is a very powerful section here that you should pay attention to. This will allow you to ensure that every time you open up your camera, it does the same thing every single time. So it feels like a tool rather than like, I don't know, the camera app that's built in just feels weird if you don't set some of these things. I usually like to turn on Apple ProRAW and ProRes just to ensure that always when I open up my camera on my phone to take a photo, I'm shooting RAW and it looks good. I get the most information absolutely possible. There's some other creative controls and other things in here that you can mess with, but in my opinion, I think those are the two most important settings to set. Use volume up for burst is nice if you're using a grip that makes your volume up work as like a shutter control button. I don't particularly use this because I like using my shoulder pod grip to hold the cameras like this, and there's no volume up, volume down. They're down here on the bottom. Doesn't really help that much. Scan for QR codes and detected text. Those ones you don't need to worry about too much if you are not taking photos of like information. If you are taking photos of like signs or doing street photography, maybe you may want to turn these off so they're not a distraction, but that is something to think about. Composition. If real estate is location, 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 photography is composition, composition, composition. Oh man, let me tell you. I know people say like light is super important. Where you get your light from, that is your location, location, location. Like composition is everything. You'll see here there are 3 options for composition to help you out. Mirror front camera, I don't do. You can toggle that and play with it. It's not a big deal. I do turn on my grids, and I actually wish that there were more grid selections here because I would love to have like a 3x3 with the cross sections in it. This grid will just turn on a 3x3 grid, which is still more than enough to get some solid composition. I also turn on view outside the frame just so I can see. It gives me more options when trying to frame up my shot, but you will need to be aware that in view outside the frame, you don't actually capture that part of the image. Photographic styles is I think something new in iOS 16. I just have my photographic style set to rich contrast. That only is applied to the image if you're taking images that are not RAW as far as my understanding goes. That's the kind of look that I like. I try not to take too many photos like that. I would like to do the editing and processing myself in post. but there you go. I do have lens corrections turned on. I'm going to try toggling that off and see how bad the lens distortion is, and if it's better corrected in Adobe Lightroom once Lightroom gets profiles for this camera. But that's something to at least pay attention to. That you may get a better lens correction out of something like Lightroom than the built-in stuff, and it could actually speed up photography, though I haven't been able to try it or test it too much on this yet. I'm sure I will once I get to my full review, but that's where this is at. Finally, macro control. I try to turn this on every single time. This will allow you to control switching automatically to the ultra wide lens for macro. This is super annoying. I feel like every pro phone should have this built in turned on, because the automatic lens swapping is out of control. I would actually really like it if the built-in settings in the camera app gave you the ability to lock off your lenses even if you are zooming in and out, so it's just a software crop for each one, and then you manually switch between your lenses, because I think that, for me, is a more professional approach to taking photos. But that's it. That is how I set up my camera settings on my iPhone 14 Pro, and again, this will work on pretty much any iPhone running iOS 16. I am curious though, what are some of your settings or favorite tips and tricks for getting the most out of the built-in camera app and the cameras on your iPhone? Leave a comment down below so we can all know what's up. With that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I am honored by all of you. Please be kind, both in life and in the comments below, and like this video to send good vibes across the internet. We'll do it again soon. Later.